What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another fat-free episode of the Center Beacon. Today we are going to talk about things you should buy next. I thought I would get out ahead of the power curve a little bit here and kind of hopefully provide a little advice on getting ahead of what's to come. I know if you're like me, you might find yourself always kind of catching up to trends and, hey, I'm late to the Fury Trident party and, hey, I'm late to the, Death Button Rhino party or whatever it is. So something I kind of want to make a little prediction on. I don't think this is going out too far on a limb, but I think the Galahad is going to be a really good choice, even in gold. And I'm really liking it with the Punishers and the Malots. I think, Plasma is an obvious choice for this thing. Terrans and Magnums, good choice. I think Rockets are an obvious choice for this thing. Run the Orkin and a couple of Pinatas. Or, if you want to get crazy with the Cheese Whiz, you could do a Tolumbus and a couple of CRV pins and give you some range. But in speaking about range, I think that's where this bot is really going to start to shine because he's so quick, because he has the shield, with the ability to, essentially face it in any direction towards wherever the threat might be coming from, and he can get out of harm's way quickly, which is pretty much, exactly what I'm not doing here. But this, I shot this a little while back on test server, just to try to give you guys an idea of some of the setups, and the Punisher one is a great one. And I believe this was before the damage multiplier that they've applied more recently on test server against physical shields. So these things are even more lethal now than they were when I took this video. So I think those factors, the increased damage against physical shields, along with his mobility and survivability, I think, coupled with a long-range loadout, are really going to make this thing nasty. I know playing on test server lately, it seems like there's a theme or a pattern that's pretty apparent, and if you already weren't kind of getting the memo that ranged is ruling the game, it seems to be headed that way even more, especially in light of the new heavy weapon, what I call the Reaper, because the thing is, that's what it does, it reaps. I think it's headed in that direction, and it makes sense from like a real world battlefield perspective. A lot of things are about range, being able to engage and hit your enemy when he can't do the same to you. So I kind of like this trend, and I like that they're bringing back relevance for the kinetic weapons, the ballistic weapons, if you will. I really can kind of see these things starting to fill that mid-range gap between either everything is a 300-meter rocket fest or, it's 600 meters and out, Fury Tridents. I think they really have made a conscious effort to fill some of those intermediate distances. And, you can see it here with the Punisher. The thing is a fire hose. It puts out a lot of damage. It has the Punishers have a fairly sizable magazine. And, you see that guy trying to sneak up there on me? You better watch out, bud. Probably lucky I didn't eat a face full of Orkins there, but, they put out a ton of damage. The Malots are going to give you even a couple more 100 meters of standoff, actually a few hundred more meters of standoff. Not such a large magazine, but man, they're accurate too. The Punishers, everybody kind of knows, you lose accuracy. Well, if you start at 500, a lot of the rounds you're firing are not hitting, therefore, your DPS isn't real accurate. If, you do the math on the back of an envelope or something, you need to be kind of in closer. Now, you can see here, again, this was taken prior to the damage multiplier for shields. I think if it had been after that, I would have melted that dude's face because I would have cut right through his shield like a chainsaw. And that's what you're seeing currently. The last couple test servers I've done, that's what I'm experiencing. Punishers and Malots are cutting through physical shields, like a hot knife through butter type thing. You can see how quick this guy is. He has that like galloping animation. I don't know if you've noticed that on some of the medium bots that were sped up, like the Golem. You're cruising when you get the gallop animation going. This guy capped out does 50 kilometers an hour. I think he gets it at level 9 and up, which that's moving. For a medium robot mounting a medium and 2 lights, that is a fair bit of speed. And then obviously when he engages the shield, he slows down a bit. But this guy also has, what is it? 120,000 hit points, something like that at level 12. And the shield has another 100,000 something. I could be wrong, can't remember off the top of my head, but you get the point. You've got like a quicker, almost miniature Rhino with nearly the same firepower. It's like I've been saying on a couple of these videos, it's 3/4 the firepower of a Rhino. Now I believe this video was shot, this is more recently and on a test server, and you can see that fire hose effect just chews that Fury up. And he had 3 Zeuses, so 600 meter range, but I closed within, inside of my 500 meter range, and I'm eating that guy alive. So I really kind of feel like if you want to get ahead of things, like what to buy, what to save for, I know I am. I'm saving for this guy. And I have several Punishers and Malots laying around that I think I pushed to like 9, maybe 10 on some of them that I'm going to continue to level up because I feel like they're probably getting pretty close to dropping these changes on live. They've been testing this increased rate of fire on these things. If you remember, or if you don't know, they ramp up after 3 seconds of continuous fire. Their firing rate increases, so your DPS increases. Your mag dumps quicker too, but and they have that 2.6 time damage multiplier to physical shields. So I'm I'm saving for this thing. I want to get at least one, and I don't plan on running it with the traditional, or what has been the traditional rockets and plasma setup, because I feel like with all the shields, with all the special abilities, everything that's going on, I feel like we're kind of going to start to push towards a more ballistic, oriented dominance of the battlefield here. Especially with that new Reaper, the new heavy weapon prototype coming into play, coupled with a few Malots like I've talked about in previous videos. That thing is nasty. Real nasty. And I think you're going to see some of these games, they're going to get stretched out a little bit as far as engagement distance goes. Not everything is going to be, rush to the center and meet a dude at point blank range, and then both of you, unload 2,500 rockets into each other and see who survives. So, there are other platforms, that can mount these weapons that are going to give you great options too. But what I like about these guys and his little brother, the Gareth, you're getting plenty of speed and quite a bit of survivability with that shield. So that's going to be it for this video. I've got a couple more of these planned where I'm going to kind of highlight some bots and some weapons that maybe we all kind of want to start thinking about getting ahead of the game here a little bit for what's going to be dominant in the near future. So look for those here coming up, and as always, thank you for liking and subscribing. I will see you next time at the Center Beacon.